For these men, a new mission is starting. For the Rio authorities, it's one more favela taken back from the armed gangs. We're in São Carlos, the last favela to be pacified, with the 17th UPP, a police pacification unit. If there is an official inauguration today, it's because the situation is urgent.
Valeu, Tira do Sonho! Valeu, irmão!
For decades, Rio's poor districts have been held by criminal organizations. So the state wants to rapidly take back control of the favela. In 3 years, Brazil is hosting the World Cup and the Olympics in 2016.
The UPPs is simply restoring a peaceful climate. With the police returning, we are removing weapons, bringing more dignity and civility. That's done now. The police are here and won't leave. Together with you, the people of Rio, will continue on this path.
The special operation that rocked Rio took place in November 2010. It was described as a historic conquest. The military, the police, backed up by armored vehicles, invaded the Alemão complex that everyone considered to be an impregnable fortress. A week-long battle and a deployment of international public relations. The city of Rio is now tracking down the gangsters and is pacifying its favela. Before the arrival of the UPP, the Brazilian army controlled the Alemão complex. 1,700 soldiers on a 24-hours-a-day basis to secure the area. The guns are still in the streets, but this time in the hands of the military. They are practically everywhere, at checkpoints and on patrol. The objective being present, being seen.
The situation here is calm, the zone has been pacified. Our objective is to help the population and to show that the military are part of the community.
At each favela entrance, a checkpoint.
How's it going at the checkpoint? All okay? No problems? Is there a lot of activity in the street?
Since the army entered Alemão, some gangsters have fled, but this military presence is far from being applauded. Thiago and Mazen don't believe that the state's action is going to be effective.
Things haven't changed much. It's pretty much the same.
It hasn't changed anything, and they're going to leave anyway. Now, if they were going to stay, that would be great.
But afterwards, there'll be the UPP, no?
But it will be a mess again, an awful mess, with no consideration between people.
For many residents and vendors, evoking pacification, as the government calls it, is taboo.
You must understand, talking about such things. No, understand us.
One can't talk about it?
No, you can film. No problem. But on that subject...
Are many people still afraid?
Yes.
There is still much fear. 2 rival gangs ruled the Alemão complex before the authorities reclaimed it. The 3rd Commando at war with the Vermelho Commando, a battle to control the lucrative drugs market. This activity is impossible to eradicate, but the army wants to at least contain it. This evening, Lieutenant Rodrigo Luis's men are patrolling the streets of the favela.
It's a place where there were many people with weapons. Drug sales were very important. But since the occupation, we've managed to pacify the area. It's quite rare now to find armed people. The objective of our troop is to keep this locality pacified.
People are frisked.
Go easy. Okay, you can release him, great.
And obey the new commanders of the district.
Do you have anything in your pockets?
For me, really, it changes nothing. I just live my life, I work.
But now, what do you think of being controlled in the streets?
It's all right, it's their work, it's their procedure. I'm okay with it.
People are afraid of reprisals. Here too, they are not very talkative. For years, the gangs have imposed a rule of silence, so each day the military tries to regain the trust of the locals.
What I can say regarding the occupation is that most people support the process. For me, that's positive. Residents needed that, and now they have it. More tranquility in the area they live in.
In a few months, these soldiers will leave the Alemão complex, handing over to a police pacification unit. As has happened in the historic center of Rio, in the heart of the city, a stone's throw only from the main station in the Providencia favela, a symbolic one, the oldest in Rio. For a long time considered to be the most violent place in the city, Providencia was the central hub for all the drugs traffic in Rio. We met up with Wanda. For 31 years, Wanda earned her living from drugs. She was a go-between in an international cocaine ring.
I used to be the link between Brazil, Greece, and the Medellin cartel. Everything passed via me, here in Brazil. They came to my house, and I would go up in the favela with 2 bags full of dollars to exchange them for cocaine.
Wanda lost 2 sons, one from an overdose, the other gunned down by police. Today, this ex-drug dealer says she's moved on, welcoming the calm that has returned to the favela.
It's a community that suffered a lot. At this time of day, 4:35, there was always gunfire. And they didn't care if there were children, grown-ups, or elderly people passing. No, when they had to fight it out, bullets were flying everywhere. And today, that no longer happens here.
The police pacification unit in Providencia has been in existence for a year. To prevent the return of large-scale drug trafficking, no less than 250 policemen patrol the hillside.
We are going to frisk these people.
ID verifications, body searches, drug checks. Here too, the police are now in control. But in Providencia, the pacification program starts at the police station. Inside the UPP, it's more like a school. Children are everywhere attending classes. English, Spanish, accounting, music, dancing, boxing, or jiu-jitsu. To build Rio's future, in effect, the government wants to win over the youngest. Before working with children, teaching them jiu-jitsu, Flavio Teixeira was one of the few policemen in the favela before it was pacified. At that time, he believed that there was no alternative but to fight it out.
As a member of the military police, I had real doubts about the UPPs. For me, it wasn't a good idea. I believed that, as we say, one had to shoot, hit and blow up, a full-on confrontation. I didn't believe in occupation. I hadn't seen or lived the experience of the UPPs. But when I started working with them, I understood I was wrong. Things really have changed. It's not just an occupation and taking the weapons. No, it's a real change, with the UPPs bringing classes and activities, establishing, introducing new relationships into this society. Wait, I'll get you the answer. Take a rest. Are you coming back this afternoon?
I do karate and jiu-jitsu, and I go to the library upstairs. It's great having this UPP near my home, because before children couldn't stay in the streets because there were bandits. It's true, the UPP has changed my life.
According to official figures, since the UPP were introduced, the crime and delinquency statistics in Rio have steadily improved. Between 2009 and 2010, killings have dropped by 18%. car thefts are down by 20%. If there's one favela that the public authorities dream of pacifying, it's Rocinha, the biggest favela in the world. 150,000 people live there, a true city, ruled over by another mob, the ADA, the Friends of Friends. Attempting to gain some control, the police occasionally intervene, but generally have to withdraw. This morning, 300 policemen are invading this immense favela. We are in the entrails of Rocinha. After a 7-month investigation, the police have come to this house to seize kilos and kilos of drugs. It's the biggest cache of cannabis in the favela. It's absolutely everywhere. We're treading on a mountain of drugs. To pursue their activities elsewhere, the dealers have had no choice but to flee and abandon their drugs.
The quantity, difficult to say.
In fact, 3 tons of cannabis, which must be removed laboriously from the favela. Outside, the policemen are smiling. Such a haul is rare, and all the more important in that it belonged to Ney, the most wanted drugs dealer in Rio.
Hey, look, it's a present for you. It's a great day.
And why?
Can't you see all this? We've taken it from Ney. It belonged to Ney.
Ney, seen here on the wanted posters, age 35, but he looks much younger. Since the operation on the Alemão complex last November, he has become the biggest drug dealer in the city. Part of his stock has been seized, but he remains at large.
Is there much left?
A lot.
The state governor hopes to create 40 UPPs before the World Cup. But in Rio, it's going to be a long uphill road.
Wow, this thing is endless.
Yeah, there's no end to it.
There are in the city nearly 1,000 favelas.